Hello, everybody. My name is Mariana Hughes, and I'm so happy to be here at Eastlake Plus, a positive podcast on behalf of Eastlake alumni and friends. And so today I have a really special treat for you. I am here with a very dear friend and also quite a titan, Mr. Alex Estrada. Thank you so much for being with us. What's going on? How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Always feels like home coming back here, and so I'm excited to be here and contribute to your podcast.
Thank you so much. So tonight we're really going to, we've been emphasizing the 5 A's at Eastlake High School, academics and the arts and activities and athletics, and of course my favorite, alumni. And so of course we have you tonight to talk to us about athletics at Eastlake High School. So I know that your current role, you're kind of a district guy now. You are currently the director of athletics for the Sweetwater Union High School District. And you are also the coordinator for middle school athletics. But can you give us a little idea and tell our alumni and community at home, what is your role in terms of Titan athletics?
So I came to Eastlake in 1999, and I was hired as the basketball coach and a teacher. And the roles grew from there. I did 15 years of varsity basketball, served as the athletic director for 8.5 years, and then kind of moved on to a district level position. But Eastlake's always been dear and near to my heart and a special place, 19 total years here, so.
Yes, at Eastlake, we always say, once you're a Titan, you're always a Titan, and Titans always come home. So we're so glad to have you here. I'm so proud to have worked with you for so many years, and I know everybody just really wants to get your insight about athletics, and especially athletics at Eastlake. So for me, I know that, we really at Eastlake want to make sure that kids, all of our students, find a place where they belong, a place where they find their tribe, and they feel like school is fun, and they're doing important things. I know that athletics does that for our students, but what would you say are other lessons that sports and athletics teach our kids?
I think the important thing about athletics is it teaches you how to work as a team. It doesn't matter if you're an individual sport or a team sport. All our individual sports have a team component, so the teamwork. And I think it's important, even now more than ever, is sports. It crosses all lines. It doesn't matter your background, where you came from, what you're about. You're a team, and like here at Eastlake, we're all Titans, and we work together as Titans. So the teamwork has always been an important thing, and I think the life lesson that I've always tried to instill when I coach is that athletics is the one thing that what you put in, you're going to get out. So if you don't put work in, you're not going to get anything out. I always told the kids that, don't be upset. Don't be upset. I'm trying to think of it was one of my favorite sayings towards the end. I said, but don't be upset with the results you didn't get, with the work you didn't put in. So a lot of it kind of negative, but sometimes they want the quick and easy, but in sports, you got to put in work to get those results. So I always thought that those were special. Those were life lessons, and we were very, very fortunate to have kids that came from great backgrounds here at Eastlake, and we just reinforced what was happening at home and kind of gave them that extra push to do big things.
I think that's so important what you're saying, because especially nowadays, fast-paced everything, fast-paced instant gratification, a lot of that. Sports really make kids to commit to a long-term goal. And I think for their character development and for who they eventually become after they're not on our fields and not in our court, I think that really goes a long way to helping their development. I agree with you completely. Now, you got here in 1999. I just missed you. I got here in 2000. So, but you know a lot about early Eastlake sports. So can you tell us, we're so happy and proud that we're celebrating our 30th anniversary at Alumni and Friends. And can you tell us a little bit, for those of you from the way back, remind us a little bit about how sports got started? Because they only started in 1992 with like freshmen, right? So how did that look for our poor babies?
Right. So the school opened in 92, and they had freshmen and sophomores.
Okay.
So they split the class at Bonita, the freshman class, and half the freshmen came here, and then half the freshmen went to Bonita, obviously. Okay. So that's where the rivalry came in the boot, because half the students were already Barons, and then they were, they came out here. So, and the first year they were just JV sports.
Okay.
Actually, the basketball team was able to play in the CIF playoffs.
Wow.
So they played the playoff. They played JV schedule, and then they were able to get in the playoffs. So that was a good experience. And then from there, that team grew. It was the first league championship was boys basketball.
Well, that's outstanding. And now that was before you got here?
Before
Okay.
Coach Forrest Parch was one of the first hires, and so
Okay.
he was the boys basketball coach.
Wow. And then, Mr. Estrada here is kind of modest, but he took our basketball team on to do wonderful, wonderful, great things. Okay. So after we finally got going, we've had in 30 years some pretty special moments for our teams, some really phenomenal athletes that have come out of our campus. Can you give us some of those highlights? Because I know you're real close to those people and you're real close to those coaches and teams. Like, give us some of the highlights that we can all share that pride for.
Absolutely. So, again, back to 92, I know a lot of the kids. I had coached at another school, and so kids were split, and they came over here as well. So, but early on, some of the success they had in boys and girls basketball. Okay. Coach Parch, Forrest Parch, was the first. That was the basketball coach. Larry Harmburst was a longtime district coach. Yeah. He was the girls coach. The first real player that stood out from that group was a kid named Jason Cox. Okay. Jason went on to UC Davis on a full basketball scholarship. Nice. They won a national championship. He was NCAA Player of the Year. Wow. And then, I think we kind of struggled to find identity. Okay. We were in a big conference with I think it was 9 teams, and we were just building. We were building. When I came around in '99, the first year we had a 9-team conference. Okay. And we were competitive, but again, we just hadn't grown to the numbers, the 3,000 students that we have now. In 2000, we split up the conference. We brought in Mater Dei, which was the old Marion, and then Mar Vista came back into the conference. Okay. So we split into a 10-team conference. Okay. Two 5-team leagues, and I think that's where we kind of got our bearings. We were in the smaller attendance league then. Okay. But then I think that's kind of where I think we gave us some confidence, and when we went to the bigger league, we just kept growing. So, and from there, you had kids like Tony Jefferson, played in the NFL. Adrian Gonzalez was my first year. That was his senior year. Yes. And he went on first pick overall for the Florida Marlins, went on to play for the Padres, the Red Sox, Dodgers. And, big contributors to Eastlake Athletics.
Yes, we appreciate that so much.
They give back. But we had a lot of female. Jackie Montavon was one of the first girls, went to
I still hear her name around campus. Army. She's a legend.
She went to the military academy.
Yes.
Had a great career in the military. VNA Campos.
Yes.
And VNA Campos was a field hockey, basketball, softball star. She went on
triple sport athlete. We don't hear about that so much.
She went on to UC Davis, played field hockey, was a Division I female field hockey coach. Yes. She's come back. She does clinics for us.
Yeah, she's in touch with our alumni and friends. Love her. My former student.
Absolutely. Someone like Patricia Meisner. Okay. She was a cross-country runner. And in her sophomore year, think about this. Her sophomore year, she was one of 40 kids in the nation, the top 40 kids in the nation to run cross country. So she was the top 10 on the West Coast. And as a sophomore, that's incredible. So a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, I love to hear that. I mean, success across all levels of our sports, success across the men's and women's teams, just building programs and investing in those kids. And I know my own kids. They've played sports at Eastlake High School. They found their homes. They found their friend groups on those teams. It's meant a lot to them. But I know, as I've seen it, and I've been close to coaches, that coaches are putting in so much time with those kids. I mean, a lot of times coaches are they're spending a lot of time with those kids, sometimes more than some family members that they have. Who are some of those coaches that have been through Eastlake High School that have really helped to form these young people into amazing citizens, amazing people in our community? Who are those legends? Because I know our alumni are going to hear those out there and just remember them so fondly.
Right. So the generation before me that I was fortunate to work with, I think when I got here, Tom Spence was an assistant principal. Mr. Spence was a longtime baseball coach. He coached at Sweetwater, UCLA grad, and just a mentor, someone who kind of reminded you. I was a young 29-year-old, and I thought I knew everything. David Gonzalez, who coached baseball, coached Adrian, probably one of the best I've ever been around, communicating with student athletes and how he spoke to kids. Jim Knox, another volleyball legend. Forrest was here, but I replaced Coach Parch. He retired. Alan Duke was another one. And so these are pillars that started the school along with Mr. Canaris, and he brought all these good folks in. the thing about that generation of coaches, they were teachers, and they were teachers first, and they were really good teachers. And then they went onto the ball field to do their craft. And I think that just helps, because when you have a teacher who's also your coach and you see him all the time, I mean, how can you not succeed, right? And then we kind of moved on to when I came around. Coach McFadden was here, did great jobs with the football program. Janet Alizar with the basketball. Coach Koopman, both Koopmans.
Yes, and they're longstanding coaches, and they're still out there on the track. They're probably still on the track out there tonight.
I saw Mr. Koopman. Mr. Koopman riding his bike. I scared him.
So much service for our community and school. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so, and I think the special thing that I'm really proud of, Mr. Hughes included, Dean Trop, we had kids here, and we were invested not only, our sons and daughters being here, being athletes, being teachers, being part of the community. I think it just grew a special place for all of us.
I can't agree more. I definitely think that those coaches out there that started the school and, along with our founding faculty, they really set the bar so high. And I think our staff recognizes that, our community recognizes that, and we still try to live up to those standards in everything we're doing from day to day and year to year. Also, I know that we have, the athletic director position is no easy job at Eastlake High School, because every kid, most kids on campus are playing at least one sport. Some kids play two, a few play three. We've got community that expects a lot of things. That's a big job. Who else has served in that capacity, and what can you say about that job? Oh my goodness.
Well, obviously, when you have the numbers, I think we're up to 3,000 students. I know when I left, we were 3,000, and close to 1,700 of those kids play sports. So over half your student population play sports. And when Mr. Gonzalez was the AD when I was first here, he passed it on to Mike Parker. I was fortunate to have it. And now, we're very lucky to have two outstanding ADs, Ms. Baconi and Mr. Kazire.
Yes.
And you need it at a place like this with the demands and the high level of sports that we have and student athletes. I think it's an important facet, and they do a great job.
Yeah. And we've got some great coaches out there now. I got to say something about Gallegos, because he's just been, oh my goodness, a legend in baseball, and so many others that are out here. Before we wrap up, we're wrapping up just real quick. Tell me, you've seen it from the perspective of a classroom teacher and a coach, athletic director, parent, colleague. What does it mean to you to be a Titan? What is that? For people that may not get it out there.
And you know what? Now that I'm removed 5 years, I think that there definitely is some folks don't get it, but I think us that have been here, it's a special place. Yeah. There's a special bond, the community. You have the name behind a community and a school. And I think that, that there's a responsibility. I try to tell all my players, there's a responsibility if folks came before you that established this tradition of being a good school. I always said, when you think of Eastlake, we're in the same conversation as Torrey Pines, Mission Hills, Poway, Rancho Bernard. We're a top 5 school in this county, not just in this district.
Put us against any of them any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Absolutely. So I think it's that responsibility of keeping that tradition of everything we do.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, we always want our kids to have a home, and your programs found so many kids that home. And along with all of our coaches and other sports on campus, a lot to be proud of here at our school. I'm so grateful that you've come in today and spent some time and let us see 30 years, because we're celebrating 30 years this year, and help us understand 30 years of greatness in athletics at Eastlake High School. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I just want to thank everybody out there again for joining us on Eastlake Plus, a positive podcast. On behalf of Eastlake alumni and friends, again, thank you for joining us. And remember, once a Titan, always a Titan. Have a great night. Thanks.